Number one is I did some adventuring whilst I was not recording. In fact, I recorded the entire session, but the audio was crud, so I had to change things up. RTX voice seems to have a mind of its own, but let's go over what happened. Number one, I figured out POV mode. Look at this guy, strafing, jumping. I figured out that the jump button was not assigned to a key. Look at that delayed jump, like a floating orc. You also notice I got some armor on me, so I went and I sold all the stuff that we got. I got plate armor, and then really all else that I did was I fought my first mud crab with my fists at first, and then I used the... Well, let's take a look at our inventory. So you can see I have all this iron gear here, and then I have chitin boots and an iron shield. And a question I have for anyone who is an experienced Morrowind player, when hitting escape instead of right-clicking.
Quickly, Outlander, or go away.
All right, I'll go away. I learned auto run is the caps button. Yes, it is. So my question is this. See, I have the shield equipped right now. Is it providing a bonus to me when I go into fight mode? And this is a bad example because I have the two-handed warhammer. And really, isn't it a great hammer? Because I think a warhammer is technically a one-handed weapon. So, minor discrepancy with that. But see, I have the iron shield equipped, and then in this mode, it's not visible. But he's still only punching with one hand. So I wonder if it's actually there, or if it's not there. That's my question. Is it there, or is it not there, the shield? Because as soon as I go out of fight mode, the shield appears. So I tried fighting the mud crab with my fists first, and it didn't... Well, it worked. It was just very slow. And then I used the great hammer, and it worked much better. And then while I was doing that, I found the body of Processus Vitellius. And he was the tax guy. And everyone we were talking to is leading us over to...
Make it quick, Outlander.
You make it quick. I'm leaving. Over to the lady in the lighthouse. If you remember, she was not too happy with us because we stole a lantern, but she won't talk to us, and she's pivotal to this quest. So...
You will die!
Yeah, that's how she's feeling right now. Now, I'm going to go into console here, and I'm going to click on here, and I looked this up. I think it's stop fight. Oh, no. Stop combat. Set fight. And I think that's what I have to do. On her. Yep. Then I'll get out of console. Oh. Alright. And she's chilled out. But she hates me. The only other way would be to kill her, but then I can't do my questing. So, yeah. We're gonna have to run into that here and there when we do this playthrough. I want to play as legit as possible, but I'm not gonna let an odd thing like that ruin an experience. And in Elden Ring, for example, you could go talk to the turtle and, chill someone out. But not in Morrowind. Look at this tapestry. Isn't that pretty? Keep in mind,
watching me.
this is 20 years ago. 20 years ago. All the little details. I mean, yeah, it's repeated 3 times, but... Or 4 times. Give me a break. Alright, let's talk to her. The very Vedrano, she's our suspect. The only other things that we did is we talked to everyone in the tavern, and we learned that there are some people out in the cave near the Silt Strider who have been maybe working out a deal with the guards, some thugs. And that's it. Oh, and you also might notice, I think I have my webcam set up in the top left corner since there's space on the screen. Yeah, and I read a couple books or whatever, but that was it. So let's go on with this. Let's talk to her. I still don't like you. I bet nobody in Seda Neen likes you. Seda Neen likes you. All right, murder of Processus Vitellius. Processus murdered? No! Tell me it is not so. He was the gentlest man I ever met. He and I had become so close in the past few months. I don't know what I would do without him. I've only seen him get angry once or twice, and never raised a hand to anyone. This is so sad. Well, not even angry, I suppose. I saw him arguing once with Ford Gilneth about his taxes. He thought Processus had been levying too much and skimming off the top for himself. Ridiculous! Processus wouldn't have done such a thing. I'm sure of it. Please find out what happened, friend. She's calling me friend now. Look at the top. I still don't like you. And if you find out what became of Processus's ring, it would ease my heart. Oh, Processus's ring. I gave him the ring many months ago, and it was dear to him. I would like it to remember him by. Right, so we're looking at Gilneth, Foreign Gilneth. Right. Yeah, so we did, we missed an hour of gameplay, but in terms of how high play, that's not too long. We did find a letter on the body, and you can see right here, Foreign Gilneth is the person who owed the most taxes that didn't pay. So I was heading to the Nith anyways. Yeah. Heading to the Nith. I think it might be the same guy that doesn't like us.
What?
Nope, it's not. There's Gilneth.
How are you?
That's Fargoth.
Yes.
Traveler.
Let's hear it.
There was a house that was unlocked.
What's this about?
This is
I
Elderfire.
suppose it is my duty to help those less fortunate than
She
myself.
was pretty friendly to us. Draren Theralis. We did talk to him. He didn't have much information. He was just Fargoth's house. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I love the strafe animation. That's probably my favorite thing in the game so far.
Can we hurry this along?
Gilneth. The warehouse. I'm wondering, just thinking about how games are made, I wonder if we find Gilneth.
Go ahead, stranger.
Maybe, all the guards earlier were guiding me to the lighthouse. And everyone, in fact. Gilneth. I don't know that I've met Gilneth yet. I wonder if he's in one of these houses. Ooh! Satanine, Foreign Gilneth's shack. Oh, here it is. Going down. Better come quietly. What do you want? Murder of Processus Vitellius. The Fetcher? You're damn right I did him in, and a good thing too. He was skimming a lot of money from all of us honest people, overcharging us on our taxes and keeping the difference for himself. He was always flaunting his money around, showing off his new clothes and jewels. So I killed the bastard and left his body out there to rot, with all his ill-begotten gold still on him. Yeah, that's really no. This is now originally when we found the money on the body. Since this is an episode 2, the missing episode. We had the option to keep the 200 gold or to turn it in. I decided to turn it in because I thought it might save the villagers of Sedanine from further excess taxation. And then the tax guy, the lead tax guy, was like, "Hey, I'll give you 500 gold if you can find his murderer." Since I know I'm obligated to the Emperor now, I'm trying to realign my path to something good. I don't want to go back to prison. So I'm sorry, Foreign Gilneth. That's no excuse for murder, and your punishment has been decided. You're one of them, huh? Come to kill me. We'll give it your best shot, orc. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing like a John Wayne accent or something. I've no problem spilling more of the blood of the Emperor's lackeys. He's gonna attack us. Look at my little green bar in the bottom left-hand corner. Oh.
Die.
Oh yeah, he is. Ah. Ooh, in the chest. Ow. Aha.
There's no escape.
Interesting that that green bar drops when you get hit. Ooh. Oh, he's knocked me down. He's hitting hard. Ooh.
Die, fetcher.
I don't know. It probably doesn't matter where you hit. I can't imagine in 2002 the hitboxes were that advanced.
Die. You're beaten.
Oh, I can't move the mouse. All right. Now, if you look at my health, it's 42 out of 57. Low fatigue makes it harder to successfully perform your action. Can I eat some bread? Bread has no effect on me. Isn't good.
There is no escape.
Oh, I quite literally cannot do anything right now. Didn't mean to do that, but you gave me no choice. Tried to spare you, Foreign. With my invisible battle hammer. Great hammer of invisibility. character model is floating slightly. That's okay. Ah, there it is. There it is. Sorry, dude. I was trying to, beat you with a bowl. He's got a wooden bowl and 5 gold. I'm gonna take all that. And we're gonna investigate him too. Go back to... What does he got? A tankard. Ooh, a common belt. The ring. Take all that. Will the belt do anything for us? I've noticed that this window only gets this big. I'm bummed out about it. I learned also how to change all the different window sizes, which is nice. These are our skills over on the right. And our armor is 12. It's belt. Doesn't do anything for our armor, but hey, it looks sharp. Can't even tell, but it looks pretty darn sharp, I would have to say. No need to be brandishing our weapon at this point. Alright. Notes. Got some hackle low leaf. Got that. And in true style of a Bethesda game, I'm gonna take everything and sell it. I wonder if I can wield the knife alongside my shield. That changes the dynamic. It's not a weapon. That's not gonna work. Can I get to these over here? Yes. And the barrels? Nothing in the barrels. Ooh, a little nice little gold. Now they're called gold here, but I think they call them marks in the world. Then this book is probably the most valuable thing. A dancing fire. And before I read this, I'm gonna check that the video is working. So, quick save. All right, here we are again. Let me move the mic back just a smidge. That's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these microphones. This microphone. It's not the microphone, it's the computer. And I have to say, I think Morrowind has something to do with it, because it's flickering around and whatnot. Oh, a lamp. I don't know that I took that. But yeah, it's flickering around quite a bit. And then it crashes. So, please bear with me. A Dance in Fire, Chapter 6. We'll see how this goes. A Dance in Fire, Chapter 6. And I don't know that we... This is Chapter 6. We might need to find the earlier chapters. But we'll go ahead and read it out of order. Decimus Scotti sat down listening to Leodes Juris. The clerk could hardly believe how fat his former colleague at Lord Atreus's building commission had become. The piquant aroma of the roasted meat dish before Scotti melted away. Looks like this is going to be, oh my goodness, 26 pages long. So, yeah. Hang on to your hats if you want to just fast forward. I understand. I'm going to go and read the whole thing. I'll read a little fast. All the other sounds and textures of Prathala Hall had vanished all around him as if nothing else existed but the vast form of Juris. Scotti did not consider himself an emotional man, but he felt a tide flow over him at the sight and sound of the man whose badly written letters had been the guidepost that carried him from the Imperial City back in early Frost Fall. And if you want to hear the slow version, remember, just slow the video down on YouTube. Where have you been? Juris demanded again. I told you to meet me in Falanisti weeks ago. I was there weeks ago, Scotti stammered, too surprised to be indignant. I got your note to meet you in Athe, and so I went there, but the Khajiit had burned it to the ground. Somehow I found my way with the refugees in another village, and someone there told me that you had been killed. And you believed that right away? Juris sneered. The fellow seemed very well informed about you. He was a clerk from Lord Vonnick's building commission named Reglius, and he said that you had also suggested that he come down to Valenwood to profit from the war. Oh yes, said Juris, after thinking a moment. I recall the name now. Well, it's good for business to have 2 representatives from Imperial building commissions here. We just need to all coordinate our bids, and all should be well. Reglius is dead, said Scotty, but I have his contracts from Lord Vannick's commission. Even better, gasped Juris, impressed. I never knew you were such a ruthless competitor, Decimus Scotty. Yes, this could certainly improve our position with the Sylvanar. Have I introduced you to Bast here? Scotty had only been dimly aware of the Bossamer's presence at the table with Juris, which was surprising given that Mer's girth nearly equaled his dining companion. The clerk nodded to Bast coldly, still numb and confused. It had not left his mind that only an hour earlier Scotty had intended to petition the Sylvanar for safe passage through the border back to Cyrodiil. The thought of doing business with Juris after all, of profiting from Valenwood War with Elsewhere, and now the second one with the Somerset Isle seemed like something happening to another person. Your colleague and I were talking about Sylvanar, said Bast, putting down the leg of mutton he had been gnawing on. I don't suppose you've heard about his nature. A little, but nothing very specific. I get the impression that he's very important and very peculiar. He's the representative of the people legally, physically, and emotionally, explained Juris, a little annoyed at his new partner's lack of common knowledge. When they're healthy, so is he. When they're mostly female, so is he. When they cry for food or trade or an absence of foreign interference, he feels it too, and makes laws accordingly. In a way, he's a despot, but he's the people's despot. That sounds, said Scotty, searching for the appropriate word, like bunk. Perhaps it is, shrugged Bast, but he has many rights as the voice of the people, including the granting of foreign building and trade contracts. It's not important whether you believe us. Just think of the Sylvanar as being like one of your mad emperors, like Pelagius. The problem facing us now is that since Valenwood is being attacked on all sides, the Sylvanar's aspect is now one of the distrust and fear of foreigners. The one hope of his people, and thus of Sylvanar himself, is that the Emperor will intervene and stop the war. Maybe this involves us. Maybe we are part of the intervening. Will he? Asked Scotty. You know as well as we do that the Emperor has not been himself lately. Juris helped himself to Reglius's satchel and pulled out the blank contracts. Who knows what he'll choose to do or not to do? That reality is not our concern, but these blessings from the late good Sir Reglius make our job much simpler. They discussed how they would represent themselves to the Sylvanar into the evening. Scotty ate continuously, but not nearly so much as Juris and Bast. When the sun had begun to rise in the hills, its light reddening through the crystal walls of the tavern, Juris and Bast left to their rooms at the palace, granted to them diplomatically in lieu of the actual immediate audience with Sylvanar. Scotty went to his room. He thought about staying up a little longer to ruminate over Juris's plans and see what might be the flaw in them, but upon touching the cool soft bed he immediately fell asleep. The next afternoon, Scotty awoke feeling himself again. In other words, timid. For several weeks now he had been a creature bent on mere survival. He had been driven to exhaustion, attacked by several jungle beasts, starved, nearly drowned, and forced into discussions of ancient Aldmeri poetical works. The discussion he had with Juris and Bast about how to dupe the Sylvanar into signing their contracts seemed perfectly reasonable then. Scotty dressed himself in his old battered clothes and went downstairs in search for food and a peaceful place to think. You're up, cried Bast upon seeing him. We should go to the palace now. Now, whined Scotty. Look at me, I need new clothes. This isn't the way one should dress to pay a call on a prostitute, let alone the voice of the people of Valenwood. I haven't even bathed. You must cease from this moment forward being a clerk and become a student of mercantile trade, said Leodes, Juris grandly, taking Scotty by the arm and leading him into the sunlit boulevard outside. The first rule is to recognize what you represent to the prospective client and what angle best suits you. You cannot dazzle him with opulent fashion and professional bearing, my dear boy, and it would be fatal if you attempted to. Trust me on this. Several others besides Baths and I are guests at the palace, and they have made the error of appearing too eager, too formal, too ready for business. They will never be granted audience with the Sylvanar. but we have remained aloof ever since the initial rejection. I've dallied about the court, spreading my knowledge of life in the Imperial City, had my ears pierced, attended promenades, eaten and drunk of all that was given to me. I dare say I put on a pound or two. The message we've sent is clear. It is in his, not our, best interest to meet. Our plan worked, added Bast. When I told his minister that our imperial representative had arrived and that we were at last willing to meet with the Sylvanar this morning, we were told to bring you there straight away. Aren't we late then? Asked Scotty. Very, laughed Juris, but that's again part of the angle we're representing. Benevolent disinterest. Remember not to confuse the Sylvanar with conventional nobility. His is the mind of the common people. When you grasp that, you'll understand how to manipulate him. Juris spent the last several minutes of the walk through the city expounding on his theories about what Valenwood needed, how much, and at what price. They were staggering figures, far more construction, and far higher cost than anything Scotty had been used to dealing with. He listened carefully. All around them, the city of Sylvanar revealed itself, glass and flower, roaring winds and beautiful inertia. When they reached the place of the Sylvanar, Decimus Scotty stopped, stunned. Juris looked at him for a moment and then laughed. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? That it was. A frozen scarlet burst of twisted, uneven spires, as if a rival sun rising. A blossom the size of a village, where courtiers and servants resembled nothing so much as insects, walked about, it suckling its ichor. Entering over a bent petal-like bridge, the three walked through the palace of unbalanced walls, where the partitions bent close together and touched. There was a shaded hall or a small chamber, where they warped away from one another. There was a courtyard. There were no doors anywhere. No any way to get to Sylvanar but by crossing through the entire spiral of the palace. Through meetings and bedrooms and dining halls, past dignitaries, consorts, musicians, and many guards. It's an interesting place, said Bast, but not much privacy. Of course, that suits the Sylvanar well. When they reached the inner corridors 2 hours after they first entered the palace, guards brandishing blades and bows stopped them. We have an audience with the Sylvanar, said Juris patiently. This is Lord Decimus Scotty, the imperial representative. One of the guards disappeared down the winding corridor and returned moments later with a tall, proud Bosmer clad in a loose robe of patchwork leather. He was the Minister of Trade. The Sylvanar wishes to speak with Lord Decimus Scotty alone. It was not the place to argue or show fear, so Scotty stepped forward, not even looking toward Juris and Bass. He was certain they were showing their masks of benevolent indifference. Following the minister into the audience chamber, Scotty recited to himself all the facts and figures Juris had presented to him. He willed himself to remember the angle of the image he must project. The audience chamber of the Sylvanar was an enormous dome, where the walls bent from bowl-shaped at the base inward to almost meet at the top. A thin ray of sunlight streamed through the fissure hundreds of feet above, and directly upon the Sylvanar, who stood upon a puff of shimmering gray powder. For all the wonder of the city and the palace, the Sylvanar himself looked perfectly ordinary, an average, blandly handsome, slightly tired-looking, extraordinary wood elf of the type one might expect to see in the capital in the Empire. It was only when he stepped from the dais that Scotty noticed an eccentricity in his appearance. It was very short. I had to speak with you alone, said the Sylvanar in a voice common and unrefined. May I see your papers? Scotty handed him the blank contracts from the Lord Vannick's building commission. The Sylvanar studied them, writing his finger over the embossed seal of the Emperor, before handing them back. He suddenly seemed shy, looking to the floor. There are many charlatans at my court who wish to benefit from the wars. I thought you and your colleagues were among them, but those contracts are genuine. Yes, they are, said Scotty calmly. The Sylvanar's conventional aspect made it easy for Scotty to speak, with no formal greetings, no deference, exactly as Juris had instructed. It seems most sensible to begin straight away talking about the roads which need to be rebuilt, and then the harbors that the Altamari have destroyed, and then I can give you my estimates on the cost of resupplying and renovating the trade routes. Why hasn't the Emperor seen fit to send a representative when the war with Elsewhere began 2 years ago? Asked Sylvanar glumly. Scotty thought a moment before replying of all the common Bosmiri he had met in Valenwood. the greedy, frightened mercenaries who had escorted him from the border, the hard-drinking revelers, and expert pest exterminating archers in the western cross of Valinestri. Nosy old Mother Pascott and Habel Slump, Captain Balfix, the poor sadly reformed pirate, the terrified but hopeful refugees of Vithay and Grenos, the mad, murderous, self-devouring wild hunt of Vindisi, the silent dour boatman hired by Griff Malin, the degenerate, grasping Bast. If one creature represented their total disposition, and that of many more throughout the province, what would be his personality? Scotty was a clerk by occupation and nature, instinctively comfortable cataloging and filing, making things fit in a system. If the soul of Valenwood were to be filed, where would it be put? The answer came upon himself almost before he posed himself the question. Denial. I'm afraid that question doesn't interest me, Scotty, said Scotty. Now can we get back to the business at hand? All afternoon, Scotty and the Sylvanar discussed the pressing needs of Valenwood. Every contract was filled and signed. So much was required that there were so many costs associated with addendums and codicils had to be scribed into the margins of the papers, and those had to be resigned. Scotty maintained his benevolent indifference, but he found that dealing with the Sylvanar was not quite the same as dealing with a simple, sullen child. The voice of the people knew certain, practical, everyday things very well. The yields of fish, the benefits of trade, the conditions of every township and forest in his province. We will have a banquet tomorrow night to celebrate this commission, said the Sylvanar at last. Best make it tonight, replied Scotty. We should leave for Cyrodiil with the contracts tomorrow, so I'll need a safe passage to the border. We best not waste any more time. Agreed, said the Sylvanar, and called for the Minister of Trade to put a seal on the contracts and arrange for the feast. Scotty left the chamber and was greeted by Bast and Juris. Their faces showed the strain of maintaining the illusion of unconcern for too many hours. As soon as they were out of sight of the guards, they begged Scotty to tell them all. When he showed them the contract, Bast began weeping with delight. Anything about the Sylvanar that surprised you? Asked Juris. I hadn't expected him to be half my height. Was he? Juris looked mildly surprised. He must have shrunk since I tried to have an audience with him earlier. Maybe there's something to all that nonsense about him being affected by the plight of his people. And we will... Oh yeah, we're going to definitely take that. Alright, that was a long one, but we got through it. Let me know in the comments if you appreciate the reading. Or if you don't appreciate it, you can always skip ahead. But if you do appreciate it, I'd like to know. Okay, this is it for Foreign Gilnith's home. Indrel Rathrian's shack. We don't want to mess with that. I don't know what's going here. It kind of feels like I'm walking slow. Oh, there we go. Get that run going. Do.
Go ahead, stranger.
Yeah, I'm going ahead. Alright, see you later, Solus Gravius. I've got business to attend to. I have word of news to bring to you.
This is becoming most unpleasant.
You know what, dude? I'm helping you out, Sasusius Urgala. I heard you, he says, I heard you've been asking about this murder. I'm glad to see the matter brought to its completion. Here's your reward, Mac. Good to see there are still some citizens who understand their loyalty to our Emperor. Journal has been updated. 500 gold has been added to your inventory. Alright. Peace out. Alright, nothing new here.
Yes?
Yes. I can't tell when I'm running or not. Here's regular movement. Here's running. Regular
Any
movement.
time now.
That's running too. Ah,
Let's hear it.
capsule. I see. Okay, so we solved the murder. Good for us. Now I need to heal up, but I don't know how to... How do I rest? Let's see if he has any potions in the tavern. Or the trade house, rather.
Welcome. Care to talk?
Yeah, I do. I would like, some... I don't know, can I cast spells? Alright, I think what we need to do
I'm
is
waiting.
we're going to do a quick save. We're also going to save for episode 2, overwrite that, yes. And I don't know how spells work, and I might mess this up, so I really didn't want to be a spellcaster. I would prefer... some sort of food scroll of Oh, here we go. We don't know what any of these do. This is the thing that brings us back to the hearth, or to a temple. Yeah, these are all cast once. I'd like to be able to rest. How do you rest?
Come on, I will listen.
Say something
but
or
make it
move
quick.
on.
Yeah, we talked to all these guys earlier, and that was in a video that audio was ruined on. I don't know what's going on with the audio. I hope it's working
Yes.
now.
Don't stand
This guy was
about.
kind of a
Don't
jerk.
Stand about.
Speak, traveler.
There's gotta be a system for healing. I tried eating food. Let's try that again. Miscellaneous. Bungler's Bane. We've eaten all the bread. Like crab meat. Crab meat has no effect on you. So I don't know. I don't know how we heal.
What's this about?
How do we
Go
heal?
ahead, stranger.
We already talked to him.
I suppose it is my duty to help those less fortunate than myself.
Get food and sundries from Arel's Trade House. That also where you find anyone who's... I didn't see any food listed. Let's go back and look. Maybe I missed something. Oh, there's the Silk Strider. I didn't even notice that before. I think because it was dark.
What's this about?
I need to heal.
Welcome. Care to talk?
Barter. We don't want weapons or apparel. Miscellaneous. Oh. Scrib jerky. Take all that. I don't see encumbrance either, so I think I'm going to start holding on to all these books unless it becomes visually encumbering. Brew brush. I don't know what any of this stuff does. Hackle, low leaf. Yep, I'm going to get rid of all that. Yep. Scales. Yep, we're getting rid of that. Scrib jelly. This is all common stuff that I don't think we really need. Codiflower, Spangler's Blaine, whatever that is. Alright, and this is all lockpick, torch. We have the lantern, we don't need the torch. Okay, we're gonna make that offer. Okay. Goodbye. And then we're gonna eat some of that jerky. One of them has no effect on you. Spells. Hearth heal. Restore health 20 to 80 points for 1 second on self. Alright, 123 gold. Go somewhere away from here. Sit over here and figure out how to cast a spell. Magic. Swim. Restore personality. Regret. Oh, alright. Ooh, yeah. So, Berserk. Resist Magicka. Magical item. Oh, okay. Something just popped up. I selected Hearth Heal. And then I think it's Q. Q makes me...
What assistance do you need?
Ooh, look at that. You do not have enough magicka to cast that spell. I'll keep trying it though. Alright, so Q puts me into spell mode. E puts me into fight mode. And then I lose my shield. There's got to be like a rest option, yeah? I think I need to look that up real quick. Alright. The great old search engine says press T to rest. Ah! T for rest. Resting here is illegal. You need to find a bed. Oh, I know where there's a bed. Let's see if we can wade across the river here. It didn't say I had to find my bed. It just said that I had to find a bed. No fall damage. Alright, well. But we're in Gilneth. We're going to get rid of that corpse. This kind of looks like a bed. Oh, you can just click on it too. Until healed. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Now I feel like we're making some intellectual progress here. It's night, but I don't care. And I'll try to mute out the throat clearing and all that. I apologize if I miss it here and there. Part of the reason that I'm having to work on speaking is because I do a lot of speaking for my job, and you may or may not know this, I'm a cancer survivor, and my cancer was around my throat, so it's affected me pretty severely in terms of being able to speak for prolonged periods of time. But enough about that. I'm just interested in the Silt Strider. Now, I've seen these things in other games, and I never knew that you controlled it by messing around with the organs inside. And this carapace is kind of opened up. I think that's a very cool concept. I've seen that a few other places, and I think Battlestar Galactica, the remake of it, particularly comes to mind. Then here is this little entrance to a cave, where one of the townspeople said there were some bad men in this cave. They were in league with the guards. So I think that's going to be our next thing right here. Bitter Coast region. Okay. So I think this is going to be the end of this video. I'm going to piece this together with the previous one, and hopefully the audio is working out. And then we'll go into that cave next time. Comment if you like you do, and thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you like, what you don't like. I'm trying to make this video for you as well as for me.